Now, I've been single for a while. I don't know. I guess you can't be picky and ugly. That don't work. Like, for real, this old lady the other day was looking at me and she's like, hey, did you know you look like a beetle? And I was like, oh. I was like, whoa, which one? Like John or Paul? And she's like, no, the mug, you idiot.
Hey everybody, so we got Mike Parker on this episode. I have been amped to have him on our show. He's become a very close friend of mine over the years. We've performed together a lot. He's been there a lot for me to congratulate me after my good shows and to critique me after my bad shows. He's got a really big heart. He's got a distinct, authentic approach to stand-up that you'll hear and that you just did hear. He's got a relentless spirit. He's a really hard worker. And we had so much fun in this interview, actually, that we booked a follow-up. So we're going to be doing it again next month. You'll be hearing from him again soon. So if you're subscribed to our show, you'll be able to see that. And to start things off, we're talking about video editing software and podcast editing. He was asking some questions about that. So that's how we started off. Hope you enjoy it. All right, one more thing before we get started. My wife, Taylor, has reminded me to warn everybody.
I mean, maybe it's just the mother and me, but this isn't the most kid-friendly episode. See, James is crying.
All right, so if that's the case, and if you do have young kids, then I would encourage you to do what we're about to do, which is put these little guys to bed because they don't need to hear that shit. Okay, last thing. There is clearly a very diverse array of guests that we have on our show, and the reason for that is because everybody has something in common. There's a common thread between every episode, at least is what we're shooting for, and that is some sort of holistic success that revolves around supersetting your life. And so it could be a health influencer, it could be a bodybuilder, it could be a business person, it could be a comedian. And so laughter in particular is something that is essential to good health, obviously. I was listening to Mind Pump the other day, one of my favorite podcasts, and they were saying that relationships are more important to your physical health than nutrition and diet combined. That being said, we can all agree that laughter is essential to good health, and even the Bible has a few things to say about laughter. It's not a joke book, but read the book of Esther. We're going to be doing a podcast on that one here pretty soon, and it's hilarious. The way that it's written, it's like no human being could have come up with that kind of irony. That's how well written and how funny that book is. And so the passage that I wanted to quote really quick is actually from the most depressing book of the Bible, which is the book of Ecclesiastes. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, and then it goes into a whole bunch of other things. But the word laugh was in there. That was my whole point. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Parker. I just researched like the top video editing softwares and came across this one, and I freaking love it, dude. It's
cool, man.
Oh yeah, like the stock music and the stock video footage they have is endless. Like anything you want. Like you want stock video of people that are like working out, or people that are at the beach, or people that are eating dinner as a family, or people that are drinking wine. I mean, like there's videos of everything. People doing stand-up comedy, stages, sports, nature, like any city too. So like whenever I'm interviewing, I don't know, somebody, like I had somebody from Boston on the show, right? So I had like an aerial view of Boston, you know, like type in Boston, there's like all these videos of Boston, all these still pictures of Boston, sound effects, laughter, canned laughter. But of you like doing stand up and you have a joke that bombs, just put laughter in that spot.
Oh, that's hilarious, dude. That's crazy. Does it sound natural when you do that?
No, it sounds.
No.
You know?
Like, is this a sitcom or what's going on here? Yeah. Well, that's cool. How much you pay for that a month?
I can't remember. It's weird. It's really weird and like fishy how they do the pricing for it. It's like you can pay a certain amount for it costs a certain amount for the per month, but like bill you per year, and there's like hidden fees and stuff, but like still worth it. And everything's on the cloud. So like I can start it at home, I can go to a hotel and finish it, and then I can I can borrow somebody else's laptop and download the last one that I wanted if I want to put it on YouTube there. So like when I was in Alaska, I brought my laptop, but I was using somebody else's laptop too. And so I was able to go back and forth between the two of them. You don't have to worry about taking up space in your computer or anything. Yeah, it's called WeVideo.
WeVideo, man. All right, well shoot. Whenever I figure this, whenever I decide to go down this route, man, I'll take a look at that. You know,
you can do audio only files too. So this is like the most useful thing that I found with it is that I can upload all of my it's super easy to upload too, because you have an app on your phone. So whenever I do stand-up, open mics, big shows, whatever, I upload the video to WeVideo, and then I take all of my good sets. Well, and then I use the app to it's a convenient way to like hit the space bar and play pause. I'm like, okay, what worked, what didn't, why did they not laugh, and so I can analyze my own work. But it's also helpful to I can cut out everything that bombed and keep everything that was good, and then I just keep adding to it all the good stuff, and so then I have like eventually a 20 or 30 minute set.
Yeah,
I can save as an audio file. You can save just the audio. It's an MP3, and then I can put it on my phone and I can listen to it whenever I want. So when I worked a warehouse job, I would just listen to it on repeat, and it kind of sucks because like you're just listening to yourself talk and listening to all your own material. But as a comedian, like even if you write it, like you can forget it, and so you have to keep practicing it and you have to keep using it. And so it would keep me fresh, and it was kind of like my vitamins every day. You know, it's like I take vitamins for my health. It's like, all right, this is like my vitamins for stand-up. Like I need to listen to myself, even if I'm not really paying attention. I'm just hearing it, and so it's just like staying in my subconscious mind. So it's like, okay, these are the jokes that worked. So that was a plus, is it would help me to remember my material more, but it would also give me confidence because you and I both know that, like, I mean, you've seen me bomb a lot, you know, and
the definition of bombing is definitely there's a lot of loose definition to that. So I think a lot of comics are more hard on themselves especially when they're in a situation of, which for the most part you and I usually are in, which is comics watching comics. You know what I mean? So a lot of times I see you, for the most part, it's usually in times where it's comics watching comics, and you know how it is, man. If you're not like in their little cliques or something like that, for the most part, they're not even paying attention, or
very, very quickly.
Yeah, or a lot of the times the comics, they haven't gone on yet, so they're kind of in their own head trying to figure out what they're going to say next, or their heart was racing. So yeah, I never try to, I try to tell comics, don't be hard on yourself if you because you didn't do well in front of a comics versus comic watches comic scenario. So but that's funny you were talking about that. See, I'm one of those weird people that I do not like my voice. People always compliment me on my voice, which is, I don't know, it's weird, but like, I don't like listening to it. And the minute, and I'm talking about the second I hear a joke bomb, I'm like, oh, nope, turn off. I'm borderline Office Space, where I just want to take the fax machine out and just beat the crap out of it, it's really weird. So that might be cool to kind of string stuff that works the whole time, and then then you'd be able to kind of listen to because it is important to try to remember your material,
Yeah, that and it's a confidence factor too, because that's why so many comedians get burned out, is because they just can't take they can't take the failure and the constant bombing, no matter how good you are. I mean, Bill Burr bombed on stage not too long ago. I mean, like, oh yeah, like it's just a part of the job, no matter how good you are at it. And not that I'm spectacular or anything, but I mean, I was becoming the best that getting the most traction I had ever had last January, February. I just felt like unstoppable. I was like, man, things are clicking. Like I got a warehouse job, and so it's great. Like I can just go to work and just focus on my jokes. And then when it's evening time, it's like I can let it all out, and then I can I can develop everything I've been practicing. But having that positivity and something that works, and like hearing people laugh is like affirmation that my stuff is working.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It just keeps me motivated and uplifted, if nothing else. But I know what you mean, man. Like there's nothing worse than listening to yourself talk, and especially if a joke bombs or something. It's just like, I really don't want to relive that.
Yeah, I feel that's sad, man, because you are right. You like a lot of other comics too. We're kind of gaining traction in those months, and then COVID was like, oh, you're having a good time? Oh yeah. Nope.
Like this.
Yeah, I know. Just slapped it down.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm sure I've chased you down out of a mic before and just kind of told you, hey man, what I'm saying, just keep doing your thing, man. Just keep pushing. Just keep.
You have, but
yeah.
But you've also told me what I need. But you also always tell me what I need to work on too.
Yeah. So again, but exactly what I was saying was like, the difference between day 1 and day 100, and then day 1,000, and then day 17 years from now, is going to be so night and day that that, like I said, your development was obviously coming around. Again, because from the first time I saw you to the last time I really saw you, again, just peas and carrots, right? So just two totally different things, man. So just you're doing exactly what you need to be doing, which is just you keep grinding away and you just keep pounding it. And when you name all these famous comics, right? For like the first 10 years, if not longer, they're just trying to accumulate their audience. Someone like Anthony Jeselnik, right, who's very controversial. That guy can't just go. I mean, I'm sure he can, but like if he goes into like a Seattle open mic and no one knows it's him, what I'm saying, and he does his material, he's gonna probably bomb, because they're not gonna realize, oh, this is actually a professional comic, and it's jokes, but like they're just gonna treat him like any other person. So that's why when he comes to Seattle, the people that go see him are the people who know him. You know what I mean? Like, like I'm looking forward to these dead baby jokes. So yeah. So it's like, bombing is it's definitely helpful, but it's also sometimes irrelevant because it's just it's not the case sometimes. You know what I mean? So yeah, it is what it is though.
Look, those are the nights that make you hungry, though. Like when you go to bed knowing that you bombed, and then you wake up the next morning, the first thing you do is just like, man, all right, figuring out what went wrong, and I'm gonna work through it, and I'm gonna improve so it doesn't happen again.
And also too, because you're a unique comic in my sense. One, because you definitely work ultra clean. Or at least that's what you are striving to work towards. It's and that's it's very easy to hit on low-hanging fruit sometimes, like I do, or but again, I truly love your style of comedy, man, because again, you do something that I wish I could do, like
your style of comedy and my style of comedy are pretty similar though. Really, like the way that you write your jokes, you're a punchline comic. Would you agree with that? Yeah. And the punchlines that you have, I kind of see like my writing style in it, almost in a way that I'm envious. I'm like, wow, why didn't I think of that? Because your joke with the funniest joke I've ever. I'm not going to make you repeat it on the repeat your material or anything, but my favorite joke is, and I've heard you tell it a lot over the years, and every time you say it, you tweak one thing, and it gets a little bit better. And I just. And when the punchline, when you say the punchline, I'm just like looking around. It's like watching like my favorite movie. It's like watching Star Wars or something where like somebody doesn't know that Darth Vader is Luke's father, right? Spoiler alert, hasn't seen it, but like it's like that moment. Then you just like look to see what everybody else's reaction is.
I'm originally from LA, and for New Year's, I took my girlfriend down to LA because it's always beautiful down there, no matter what. It don't rain there. And we took my truck, we took my boat down there, and we went out into the water for New Year's, and it was a little choppy. And as soon as I dropped anchor, she went overboard. And it scared me. No, it scared me for a minute because I was like, damn, I hope I tied enough center blocks to her. Relax, I did. All right, relax. So I'm recently single. What's up, ladies? I got a boat.
I'll go, if I say a joke that kind of bomb, that's kind of like a hard-hitting joke and it really doesn't go over that well, or people are like gasping, I literally just say, oh, come on, guys, these are just jokes. Like, I don't own a boat. You know what I mean? Like, and which is funny now because actually I do now own a boat, but it's a crappy boat. Yeah. So, yeah, man. So, and then that's the thing about comedy too, is like your material, it could be perfect, but it's never finished. You know what I mean? You can always just keep adding on to it. That's the best way. Like a joke can be perfect, but you can always add on to it. It's just, it might not be finished, Yeah. So.
Jokes are an ambiguous art. This is my segue into the fact that I'm pretty thirsty right now. So jokes are an ambiguous art in the way that in the way that wine is too. So when you drink wine, I'm getting thirsty right now, so this is one that you recommended to me. This is a Rodney Strong Vineyards 2017 Cab, Sonoma County.
Yeah, buddy.
That's different. It has kind of a like a zing to it. Like it's.
This would go incredible with a filet mignon.
Yeah.
Just it smells really nice. It's easy to go down.
I get some plum.
Unlike my ex-wife. Oh no, I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. That was also too late. It took me I was gonna say it right away, and then I was thinking in my head, don't say that, and I was like, fuck it, screw it, let's just say it.
All right, so the winemaker notes: rich with dark cherry, plum. Hey, I got the plum. Okay, spices. That makes sense. That's what if I was more sophisticated in my wine drinking, would have said. Because there's definitely spice in there. There's no pepper. I don't know. It says that apparently there's pepper in it. I didn't get pepper in it. Let me try it again.
No, I definitely feel the spices in it. That's for sure. And it's got like that nice oak flavoring. You kind of taste that too. I think. I don't know. This is what I watched the wine episode before I came on here, so I try to use those terms: aroma, oak. Flavory. I don't know.
My father-in-law always goes, I get crushed grapes.
Yeah, I don't. I'll be honest. I've been a bartender for almost 15 years, and that's just never been my strong point was wine. I've drank it from time to time, but I've never been a connoisseur of it, and just until. Probably within the last 2 or 3 years, I was working at this really nice Japanese restaurant, and I became their bar manager, and I had to kind of put together a list of wines and liquors and stuff like that, and I came across this one, and for the price, it was actually it's a really nice wine. This is my first time tasting it, so I'm very excited about it actually. So.
Yeah, it was $20 in most places and $15 a total wine.
Yeah.
It's not bad. If we have any hardcore wine connoisseurs, they're probably going to unsubscribe after this episode, but I'm not too worried about it. So with the spices, I get more like a nutmeg cloves than I do like a peppery taste.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I don't see where the peppers come in. I know it's I mean, it's spicy, but not like too spicy, you know, like it's like, yeah. And when I say spicy, it's not like hot spicy. It's just like that, you know, just taste. And plus I read that off the bottle. It says spicy on here. So I thought, yeah, spicy oak flavors. I don't know.
So my wife wasn't a fan at first sip, but I didn't taste it till now, because all the wine that we drink, most of the wine that we drink is all, for the most part, pretty heavy and red, a lot of fatty meats. That's all I eat actually, is meat. Now that, like, I don't eat carbs, don't eat vegetables, don't eat fruit. Like, I just,
good for you, buddy.
Pretty much nothing but meat, dude. I just love it. It's the best diet ever. I'm like, not only from the research that I've done have I found it to be like what works best for me, but I'm like, man, all things aside, even if it was worse than like a vegan diet or a paleo diet or anything else, like, it's the most fun. And I'm like, hey, you know what, life is short. It's simple, and freaking love it. So
are you cooking your meats at all, like, ahead of time? Like, how do you, like, for me, so that really is ideal for me. I just have a problem getting up to cook, like pull out my grill and, you know, cook on my grill all the time and stuff like that. So, like, how are you, you know, how do you maintain that diet, you know, without wasting a lot of time on, you know, cooking?
Oh, dude, it saves time. It's like the biggest time-saving diet there is. But just the one nice thing about the wine, though, is that's why we like the heavier wines, is because like pretty much everything that we eat, like, it just, you know, goes with most of what we have. You know, white wine doesn't, and steak, that, you know, obviously wouldn't work. But the heavy wines, they're always pretty heavy in the tannin, so you need to let them sit for a little bit. So I poured it out right before the podcast, and so I could bring it up here, and I was going to let mine sit a little bit so it could aerate out and, like, settle down.
Yeah.
Not have a bite until it's like, oh, it's not smooth at all. And I was like, well, I just poured it. And she was like, oh, that's why. I'm like, yeah, just give it some time. So after the show, I'll go ask her and see if she thinks.
Yeah. Once it aerates out.
What's that?
Once it aerates out.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's sweeter than most of the wines that we have, but it's not bad. I like it. I really do. I would buy it again.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I would definitely buy it again, I guess. They better send us a t-shirt for this plug. I don't know, man. A t-shirt or a hat, a trucker's hat.
But yeah, not even.
Not red, though. We don't want any confusion, Rodney Strong, please. We don't need those problems.
Oh, Taylor is on the Instagram live, and she just gave me a emoji with heart eyes and said it was good. So,
aw, how sweet. Nice.
Very sweet. Thanks, babe.
But she wants that free t-shirt too, because so you're gonna have to edit out the part where she says she didn't like it, you know what I'm saying? So she wants the free Rodney Strong shirt.
Yeah, so we will definitely, we're gonna buy a case of this, as a matter of fact.
I'm just wondering, like, did Rodney get like testicular cancer, and this is how he's trying to, you know, Rodney Strong, you know, like Lance Strong or Armstrong or whatever, or Live Strong. I'm sorry.
That joke that you had about the stimulus check.
Oh yeah, so silly. Yeah, that's so dumb. I don't know why. Like, see, man, that's another thing about comedy, man. Like, I make up like throwaway jokes all the time, like so many, and it, you know, so it's like, so I just want to share it with people sometimes, and you know, I don't do it for the likes, but at the same time, I do it for the likes, you know, like.
Well, yeah, so I have I don't know if you do this, but I have a close friends only Instagram story list, and those are where I throw out my test jokes, because these are the jokes. These are the people that don't watch my stand-up. They're like family that live in different states, or like friends that aren't new, just like people that don't go to comedy shows. So I don't want them hearing the same joke twice. So I throw a joke out there, just like if it's a type or if it's just like a selfie or something, like hey, I just thought of this. Let me know if you think this is funny. And then like people will reply back and start and laugh at it. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try it on stage. And if it's on stage and it works, I'm like, all right, good.
Yeah, there you go.
So the close friends only, it's not, because I have people that are like, why am I on your close friend? Like, are we not close friends? I was like, no, you are, but like, it's not what I
Dude, there's just too much pressure for social media for me, man. I don't know. like I'm not even joking.
but you're active on it, and you do well with it, especially on Facebook posts. Like you crank them out like every day.
You know, it's weird to me, man. Like for example, I got like 693 people on my Facebook, and like I'll put a killer joke out there and I'll get like 20 likes. You know what I'm saying? Or 20 reactions, you know. I think the most I've ever gotten was like 50, you know, and but I also, you know, but I don't understand social media that much, but I do understand that there's like an algorithm, you know, where, you know, not all 693 people are literally getting my joke in their feed, you know what I'm saying? So it just, I don't know. Social media can definitely mess with someone's ego, you know what I'm saying? Like it really can. And then that's the thing, like the pressures of, so there's a lot of pressure with social media, I feel, at least a lot of the time. Like I literally just started doing, where I just start sending happy birthdays out to everyone. That's what I'm like, I'm doing it every year. I'm like, that's my goal for the year, is to make sure to reach out to everyone on Facebook that when their birthday notification comes up. But I'm not on Facebook every day. So then if I miss a day and I miss somebody's birthday, I feel bad about it. And then, you know, or if it's been like a week or something, and then, cause I'm like, I don't want this person to see me writing another friend of ours, hey, happy birthday. And then this dude's like, oh, you didn't wish me happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that kind of stress in my life, man, you know? So I've been trying it, and I got about a good 10 days in, and then I totally stopped doing it. It's weird, though.
Yeah. So
yeah,
you have a lot of these. You have a lot of these posts where it's a picture of you doing stand up, and then you have the setup, punchline, and depending on the joke, there might be like 3 or 4 punchlines to it. So, are you using just like the standard Facebook or Instagram software for that, or are you?
Nope. So I use this. I think it's called like just Pro. So I what do I look up? I just think it's called Pro Software or something like that. It's an app on Google Play, and so Pro or so. I'll have to look that up and I'll let you know. But I just use that, and then so the reason I do that is that for me it's a vision board. So this is how I envision telling the joke. So, you know, I see myself on stage. There's my setup, the 3 little dots that basically kind of just says, here's where timing comes into place. Like I'll either pause, you know, because like you'll see a lot of my jokes, you know, setup, punchline. You know what I mean? So there's those 3 dots indicate a pause and for timing purposes. So again, that whole setup is just my vision board. This is how I envision telling the joke. And then the punchline is going to land after I pause for a couple seconds. That's really it. And it is, you know, again, just remembering your material. So yeah, I just do it. I've seen people do like single photo ones and just like a one-liner. And I'm like, well, I mean, I have one-liners, but I like the like the multiple picture thing. It's fun. Kind of builds a little story. It builds some suspense to it. So it's something you should try doing that. You know, put it out there. Yeah. You know, screw it. And then what's the worst that happens? You know. Now then it's just like now you have a vision board for what your joke should look like on stage. You know what I mean? So
yeah. My favorite stand-up comedy related stuff to post on any social media is anything that just gets a good hard laugh because then nobody can say anything. Nobody can say it's not funny. I'm like, you hear everyone laughing, they thought it was funny. You know? It's like,
and that's the thing also too about social media and like your friends and stuff like that. Like I am more popular in Facebook groups, you know, on like the city of Seattle's social group, you know, than I am with my own friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really weird. Like, I'm crushing it in these groups. Like, I'll make a comment or something like that, or I'll even post a joke, and I'll get a bunch of reactions, and then I'm like, hey, how about my friends? What do you guys think? And they're like, nope, we don't care. Yeah, but it's all good. Like I said, it's just, you know, I don't do it for the likes. You know, again, it's just so much pressure to me, man. I can't take it. Yeah.
That's funny. Speaking of social media, so this one I thought would be an interesting topic because I was flipping through the stuff that you've been putting out on Facebook. But in July, you made a post. Is it okay if I just read it?
Yeah, go for it.
You go first. Okay. Are you a says Mike Parker? Excuse me. And June 14th. Are you a conservative who loves God? Do you believe Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior? Then can I ask you a question? Who do you think Jesus Christ would walk with? The oppressed or the oppressors? Do you think Jesus would be on the side with the police officers and their superiors who have been ordering and carrying out unnecessary brutal force across this nation against the people of this nation and beyond? Do you think he would stand with you while you turn a blind eye, a deaf ear, and openly mock or judge those who are hurting and suffering, if that's what you are doing? Do you think that he is proud of your racist ways and thinking, if you have them? Do you think Jesus would have compassion for you when you do not have for others, for those who do not? Do you think Jesus would have walked with Donald Trump to the churches he used military force to remove peaceful protesters so that he can pose with the Bible he does not read? If you know anything about Jesus, then you should know the answers to all those questions. I'm in no way perfect, and this post is not a virtue signal, as if I am. I have a lot of work to do. We all have crosses to bear, some larger than others, but that does not mean we cannot change who we are as human beings. The one who bared the biggest cross teaches us to love everybody, to forgive, and not to judge. Even if you do not believe in Jesus, you can deny his teachings. You can't deny his teachings or his message. We should all want to be better people every day, and sometimes worldly living can make it difficult. Trust me, I get it. But that does not mean I lose sight of who I am as a human being. Never will I find joy in the suffering of others, even if their skin color, religious beliefs, or personal opinions differ from mine. All I can do for the world and for the people is to pray for everybody. That is something that everybody can do, not just for your side, but pray to the other. A lot of people need to learn compassion, to have some empathy, and for the love of God, Jesus Christ, his son, and that is holy, have a heart. This does not go out just to conservatives, even though I specifically called you out. This message is for everybody. You can all do better. I can do better. We can all do better. Let's do better together.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome, man. I read that back in June when you originally posted that, and that reminded me of a criticism lately that I just ran across about the pastor of our church. The pastor of our church is an Italian guy. His name is Daniel Fusco, and he's got dreadlocks that go down to his waist.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, when I saw it, what the heck? Like, is this guy a celebrity, or like, what is up with him?
Is he a celebrity? Is that what he said?
Yeah, because a lot of pastors, especially like if they get a lot of influence, like it really goes to their head and they go crazy. And I'm not going to name any names, but you and I can both think of.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
Of a lot of them that come to mind that it just gets to their head. I mean, Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs, and he went down in a blaze of glory and in a whole bunch of sin and idolatry. And so that the accusation was made against my pastor for having the long hair, and I was thinking, I'm pretty sure Jesus had long hair and he was a priest.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's explicitly said anywhere that he did have long hair, but that's the impression I have, and that's like most of what you see. And he was definitely a king, and he was definitely a priest. So that argument was had no legitimacy to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really funny where especially like so about me, I grew up in a religious background, in a religious household. My uncle, not so much on my parent, like where my immediate family, but like when I'd get shipped off to Florida every summer to see my grandparents and my uncle, my uncle made it a point to bring me into the church. And it was a Lutheran church.
What kind of Lutheran was it?
I'm sorry?
What kind of Lutheran? There's like 4 different Lutheran churches.
So that I honestly could not tell you. I just know it was they were called Holy Cross Lutheran Church. Just a very in Spring Hill, Florida. Just a very traditional, walk in, stand up, sing songs, sit down, listen, stand up, sit down, a lot of that, and then communion and the sermon. So just a very traditional church service. But I couldn't tell you exactly like what I didn't even know there was 4 types of Lutheran. So here I'm learning that, yeah.
So they don't get along with each other. None of them.
Yeah, I know. Which is all, again, it's crazy to me. So, and one thing I find funny is that a lot of people will use, like Christianity or religion as a crutch to kind of fill their own agendas, and so, one thing that we are, what we're taught in the Bible and stuff is not to judge people, like to love everybody as you love yourself, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So it's really funny to me and kind of hypocritical when, here you have your pastor who is a man of God and spent his life studying God and Jesus Christ, and then because of the way he looks, people will judge him. People of the book, of the good book, will judge him, right? So, and that's kind of what the point of that post was that I made, was like, as when it comes to party affiliation, Democrat and Republican, I think we can all agree on, for the most part, Republicans are associated with Christianity for the most part. Like that's their, and like they're very strong about that, I'm not saying that Democrats don't have that as well, but, we'll say that there's definitely more atheists and other, religions on that side per se. So when I made that post about conservatives or Republicans, we'll say, when the Black Lives Matter thing was going on, there's a lot of hate being spewed out about that whole situation. When before that whole situation, Colin Kaepernick literally just kneeled, to protest what was going on, and then people were basically, people wanted to kill him, and so, I think people just, I think they use Jesus Christ as a hypocritical tool to just fill their own agendas. So
he's so misunderstood, because there's the verse in Matthew chapter 5, I think, towards the end of chapter 5, if somebody slaps you on one cheek, turn the other cheek. And that, when you read it, it looks like it's speaking of pacifism, and it's not. It's a slap at that time was an insult. So he's not saying to submit and to roll over to physical abuse. He's saying that if somebody insults you, not to play that game, but to respond to it with love. And that's what is that he came to die for us, and that he gave his life to save the world, not to condemn the world. And so people use that. I think what you're saying is, to your point, is to use scripture in a condemning way is not at all what it's intended for, and it's very much abusing it. And whenever people abuse it, they always use King James version. I don't know if you noticed that, but they wear it like as a bet. This guy that was criticizing him was using, he was like, see, it says it right here, not to have long hair as a pastor. King James version. Like, he has to throw King James version, and I'm like you're smarter than me because you read a version that's technically not even as accurate as some of the more modern translations. But the long hair thing, man, it just I'm like, wow, why are so many people bent out of shape about that? Like, are you listening to what he's saying? And he has an ability to reach people that aren't going to listen to the guy with the preacher collar and the clean cut hair and everything. And so I think it just comes down to jealousy. Most of those people can't even grow long hair, and if they do, it probably doesn't even look good. So that's probably it. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever tried to grow out your hair? Like, so one of my biggest dreams when I was growing up, because I used to be a huge wrestling fan, I wanted hair like Bret the Hitman Hart. You know what I'm saying? Like, wrestler hair, dude. Like, dude, wrestlers' hair always just has this beautiful, like, mane looking thing. And I don't know, man, maybe it's my Norwegian, I don't know. But when I try to grow my hair, it starts going like this way. And I mean, it literally looks like a lion's mane. And then it starts to curl out of nowhere. Like, I've never been able to get long wrestler hair. And I think that's the problem. I think people are just so jealous of people who have beautiful long hair that, that's what they do.
they'll quote King James Version Bible and say you can't have long hair. Like, give me a break, buddy. Like, listen. The most important thing is he spreading the word of God? Is he teaching Jesus's message?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the most important thing.
And every single Sunday, there's people getting saved too. I'm like looking at this, like, wow, he takes any passage of the Bible and brings it to Jesus. He's teaching in Genesis. I'm like, well, how does Jesus relate to any of this? Oh, listen to him talk. He'll explain to you how. So I think that's the biggest thing I've been getting out of him, is that all 66 books have a very integrated message where every single book is interwoven with each other, and there's a unified message to where if one of those books is out of place, then you'd be missing something valuable. And if somebody tried to write a book that would that would fit in with everything else, like you just can't add to it. It's complete in and of itself.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Also, is like you would talk about when you're talking about being slapped in the face. I think a lot of people, take the book very literal when this should be more like metaphorically, or kind of on a spiritual, aspect. It's not always, like me personally, the story about Jonah when he gets swallowed up by the whale, we're allowed to question. So that's one of those things where, like, all right, did this story truly happen, or is this a metaphorical story, just like, the tons of stories Jesus had told, in compare and contrast to things like the mustard tree and stuff like that. So, things like getting swallowed up and then walking out, sure, everything is possible through God, you know what I mean? But also, this is stories translated by man, so, it's just very easy to take things out of context. I think, so I don't know, man. Like I said, I guess we're all going to find out once we die, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's really it.
If God created the earth out of his own breath, out of nothing, there's two Hebrew words. There's the Hebrew word that's for create. There's to create out of existing material, which is when in Revelation he says he's going to create a new heavens, a new earth. The word create is the Hebrew word to create with existing material. So he's going to use the old earth and the new heavens to create a new heaven and a new earth. And when he created the earth originally out of nothing, that the word create was to create out of nothing. So I think my take on the Jonah story is, if it says that it happened the way that it did, as long as there's no like or as, or there's no reason to think that there's an allegory or a metaphor in any way. My personal interpretation is always to take it literally, because I figure I can't go wrong with it. So to take something like that literally, it's like, okay, is it literal or is it metaphorical? Well, if you take it literally and it ends up being metaphorical, then whatever, you at least still got the main point out of it. If you spiritualize things though that really are supposed to be taken literally, I think that could be dangerous. That's just my personal take on it.
Yeah. And that's fair. That's totally fair. Again, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a scholar of the Bible. I've literally read it once, like from cover to cover once, and to be honest, that was when I was in prison. So, so I mean, I didn't have jailhouse religion, because I was already, I already had a relationship with God and Jesus Christ prior to going, but I've always wanted to read the Bible. But, a lot of the time it was up late, kind of pushing your limits to how much you should be reading, right? Per se, like, when you should have closed the book, I maybe go on for like another 30 minutes, and half the time I'm just looking at words at this point. So, again, I'm not a scholar on the Bible, and
not all of us need to be.
And I'm nobody to listen to, that's for sure. But I can, I don't know. All I know is I truly believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and and it's through him I get to heaven. That's how it is,
Exactly.
And if other people believe that, cool. If they don't, that's fine too. You know, with my religion, I would love for everyone to believe that, you know, because that means, you know, in my eyes or in my religion's eyes, that means everyone's saved. But, you know, like I said, we're all gonna figure it out one day. You know, it can't hurt to believe. That's for sure. Let's put it that way. Go ahead. I was just saying, I converted a friend that way one time. He was just telling me, he's like, what, you know, why do you believe? Why do you believe? And I tell him why I believe, but I was just saying to him, is like, well, for start, you know, maybe just to ease into it, just like, you know, let's say you don't believe and you die and nothing happens, right? Right. Okay, cool. If you do believe and nothing happens, okay, cool too. But if you do believe and you end up going to heaven, boom, you know what I'm saying? Like now we're in the streets of gold and milk and honey or whatever it is. So so I don't know. And he was like, you know what? That's a good point. I believe now. Like, I don't know if he was messing with me, but it seemed like the spirit came into him. I was like, oh my God, maybe I got a calling. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. No, but
hopefully it was authentic. So
yeah, I hope so too. You know, I do. That's, you know, it's funny with me. I feel like John Constantine. You know, remember the movie Constantine with Keanu Reeves? Oh, you haven't?
No.
All right, so this guy, he commits suicide as a kid, and you know they say suicide is a carnal sin. You know, it's unforgivable, whatever. I don't necessarily believe that either.
That's not true.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyways, in the movie, you know, he killed himself, and then he actually came back to life, and then he spends his whole life saving other people with the idea that it's going to save him. You know, so so he's already hell bent. He's going to hell, but he's literally like an exorcist. He fights demons. He saves all these other people with the hopes that it will save him. And that's like literally how I feel, dude. I'm like, I already know I'm going to hell, but if I could save a couple other people on the way, maybe that will help. You know what I mean? Because I fight that like with my comedy. You know, my comedy's not very Christian-like sometimes, you know, so, you know, I definitely battle that. So I like to try to say that the person I am on stage is for the most part a character, you know. There's definitely hints and pieces of me out in there, and I hope eventually one day I will develop into 100% being me authentically out there. But again, you know, just I battle that, man. I battle the you know, like honestly, man, I wish I could be just a clean 100% wholesome Christian comic, dude. Like ultimately I'd be killing that blue collar money, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you might be a redneck. Oh no, that's already been done. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I don't know, but it's such a touchy subject, and people, you know, unfortunately it gets uncomfortable for people to talk about, and that's fine too. You know, I don't force anything on anybody, man, you know. So
there's one place where it would be next to impossible to make it as a Christian stand-up. It would be Seattle.
Oh yeah,
that'd be a challenge because all the Christian comics that I'm thinking of right now are out of Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. like you can only find these comics on Zoom. Like they don't even exist. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I don't know, man. You know, it's yeah, it's just a double-edged sword, unfortunately. You know, as I was saying in that post before, you know, it's very easy to get caught up in the worldly things, you know, that we are warned against. And especially in our time and age, you know, sure, back then, you know, when there wasn't an iPad and a PlayStation 5, you know, sure, like it's very easy not to get tempted by worldly things when the only thing you have is a container made of clay that you fill water in and you have to transport. Like, yeah, man. But you know, and then what? Internet? Oh, give me a break, man. That is the devil's tool right there. Oh man, no, I know. It's just, I don't know, man. That's why I said it's like, it's just a double-edged sword, man. I want to be the best person I could possibly be, but you know, or especially best Christian I could possibly be, and it's just not happening, man. And if this gets uncomfortable for any of you viewers, he can edit all this out, you know. But
I think we already lost some of our non-believing subscribers, so
that's fine. That's cool.
I know. So who have we lost so far? We lost anybody serious about wine, anybody serious about comedy too. They are serious about religion. They probably didn't agree with half the things that we said. Anybody that believes in a different religion, probably they unsubscribe to. So what we're going to be left with? We're going to be left with like the remnant. So when God sent the people of Judah to Babylon for those 7 years of exile, what happened? He restored them back to something greater than they were, and he refined them. So maybe that's what's happening with our podcast.
And listen, if you believe in a different religion, I love you just as much. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'll break bread with anybody, dude. You know what I mean? Like absolutely. You know, as long as you know, I respect people. As long as you respect me, you know what I'm saying? And I know it's very easy to just be like, man, you believe in this mystical figure, you know, and or this mystical figure, and you know, oh, you probably believe in the Easter Bunny and Santa and all that stuff. And I was like, you know, I don't know, man. You take a walk outside your doors and you're just like I believe in science too, man. Don't get me wrong. You know, there's definitely aspects of science. I mean, a lot of science, I believe. But you know, you walk outside and you're just like, man, this couldn't just be created by a bang. You know what I mean? Like there has to be someone had to create that bang, dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
have you ever
Mount Rainier alone, dude, that's my mecca right there, bro.
Have you ever heard of Chuck Missler?
Not offhand.
Oh, I think you would like him. He unfortunately passed away a little while ago. So I'm going through an expository teaching of the book of Genesis, because there's obviously most people that believe in science don't believe that the earth was created in 6 24-hour days.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's citing studies. He's explaining things from a scientific point of view that just makes so much sense, that have been connecting so many dots together. But yeah, one of them is it's called the Canopy Theory. And it's this theory that the earth, when it was created, had a water vapor around it, because there was no documentation of any rain happening for until Noah's flood. That's when the heavens were opened up, and then it started raining after that. So the theory is that there was a water vapor around the entire earth. And if that's true, then I'm gonna do a horrible job explaining this because I'm not a scientist, and so I'm just
it's all good, buddy. Yeah, we're just talking anyway.
Trying to summarize it. I'm a comedian. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm more concerned with how big my biceps are than I am with.
Right, I feel you, dude. I know. Yeah.
So this canopy, if it was really a water vapor at the time that was not released yet before the flood, would have ultraviolet protection, which is why they were living to such long lengths. And of course, there was no death until the sin took place.
Yeah.
The sin took place, and then everybody starts dying, but they're living to almost 1,000 years old. Most people don't. Most people that read the Bible for the first time are like, yeah, no way. But it's okay about this. Now, if they're really living to 1,000 years old, there was the first 6, 7, 8 generations, whatever it is, all the way till Noah. They were all living to 1,000 years old, 900 to 1,000, and then with one exception, Enoch. He never died. He was raptured, right? God just said, "Okay, you're coming to heaven." He never died, and so other than that, everybody lived over 900 years old. And then after the flood is when the heavens is when the canopy, according to this theory, opened up, and the whole and the angels let the water fall to earth, and that's why it rained for 40 days, is because it took that much time for this entire canopy of water vapor to flood the entire earth. And earth opened up, and springs from the earth caused the water to flood the entire earth as well. But then with that canopy not being there, we were exposed to the ultraviolet rays, which is one of the primary reasons that we age so quickly. So if you look at the timeline, people started dying at a rapid rate right after it. So it wasn't linear. It was like people are living to a certain amount of time, and then the water canopy falls, aka the flood, and then everything after that, people are dying way earlier. And so my speculation is that dinosaurs and man were cohabitating.
Oh, I think that's possible. That's a possibility too.
They had to have been, and the scripture says that 2 of every animal were on the ark, and so the dinosaurs had to be on the ark at the time. They weren't eating meat at the time; they were eating watermelons or like whatever. They were eating because the animals weren't even killing each other, and so then the flood happened, and then without the canopy there, that made humans age faster, and it also probably did something to the dinosaurs and made the dinosaurs extinct because they probably didn't have the whatever genetics that were necessary to protect them from the sun. So I heard
Can you imagine living to 193 or 993 years old, but then like getting checked into the assisted living at 90? God, that was like, you mean I'm here for another 900 years, dude? That would suck, bro.
Like, do you like go to a bar and you're like, hey, Mike?
Yeah.
She's only 600 years old.
Yeah, oh man, dude, that would be. I know that's crazy, man. That'd be crazy to think. My uncle, who's a pastor, not a priest, so don't worry, your kids are safe. But but he's a pastor, and he had an interesting theory about the 7 days basically.
Yeah.
His theory was, just because it says day doesn't necessarily mean it's an actual 24-hour day. That, he said a day in the Bible could mean years, thousands of years even, you know what I'm saying? So maybe one day was 1,000 years it took to create this. And then you know what I'm saying? Because in God, time is infinite. It doesn't matter really. Like you can't put time on God. He's always been,
Yeah, God lives outside of time. So the way I heard it explained was it's like a parade. And if you're in the parade, if you're not, like we're on the street because we're with the restrictions of time. So we see the parade happening in a sequential order. And that's what time is. Time is a dimension, and it's the order in which events take place. So God not being limited to 3 dimensions, he has many different dimensions. And so he's like in the blimp above the parade and can actually orchestrate it and see all of it happening and be a part of it all happening at the same time, which is very, very difficult for human brain to comprehend. But I guess my interpretation of our days is that it comes to, again, what do you take literally and what do you take allegorically? And if it wasn't literal, it would be the only exception to where everything else is literal. Because whenever the word day is used, everything else, it's very, very well documented that it was
24,
specifically days. Yeah, like you look at Daniel's prophecy of the 70 weeks, he says this is going to happen in 3.5 years, and this is going to happen in 3.5 years. And then
that's fair. Yeah, all right. I got you.
It's calculated later in days. And in Exodus, it says that the earth was created in 24 and in 6 days. And so if that was 6,000 year periods of time, it would be the one exception to everything else, which is why personally I look at that and I'm like, I take it to be literal, and if
it could be, I don't know. Like no, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, I thought it would be 24 hour days. That's my uncle told me that one day, and I was like, that could make sense. You know what I mean? Like this is one of those things. Like okay, that makes sense. I don't know. But one thing I do want to ask God is where's my stimulus check, man? No, just kidding.
You haven't got yours yet?
No, I actually did. I did just get it. So actually, thank you, God. I was just messing with you. No, I did just get it. But and I actually, it's funny as I was making a stupid post and I posted it and I was like, oh heck yeah, my card got here. And I made a stupid joke like, oh, I thought it was a check, like weird, they did such a good job depositing in my account the first time. I don't know why they did a card, but I was like, but can I take out cash or will this just slide through the stripper's butt crack? You know what I mean? Like just joking around. But then honestly, I took that joke down because you know what? A lot of people haven't gotten their stimulus check yet. And I just didn't want to be that person bragging about getting it or, you know what I mean? Like, even though I was making a stupid joke about it. And that when people are like really struggling out there and don't have, haven't gotten it. So I was like, nah, you know what? I don't want to boast that I got it. So,
Do you remember that joke that I made about I posted it on social media about selling hand sanitizer for $20. I wasn't.
Oh yeah, you got in trouble for that, didn't you?
Yeah, and this and I don't even remember this name, but some comedian that nobody else even knew that she posed herself to be like a big influencer and like screenshot, and I posted on my story because like I didn't want it like out there like permanently or anything. I was like, it's just kind of a joke that I'm selling hand sanitizer for $20, and then she was like, these are the kind of people that are ruining the industry and giving comedians a bad name, and I was like, whoa, and then
like what?
Yeah, and it just like totally took it out of context and like I was panicking too. And you know what the worst part about it was? The worst part about it was deadlift day. And if there's one workout that I don't want to miss, it's deadlift day. And I was on the treadmill warming up, and I saw this shit going down. Saw this crap going down.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't work out now. This is gonna take hours to fix this. Like I gotta defend.
Oh, that's brutal, bro.
Yeah, you've been through that too.
I know. I
can't
can't.
on social media. It's not fun.
It's the worst, man. Because I truly do not know how people have the time and energy to just keep going back and forth on like a specific thread or something like that. And I'll kind of skim through it and maybe read, but then some of these guys are just writing paragraph after paragraph, like short story after short story, just arguing with each other. Yeah. And I'm just like, dude, it takes me an hour just to write a simple little post. Like, how the heck are you guys, doing this and still maintaining your responsibilities throughout the day? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And so that's why I did another post about whatever today. And I literally just said, I don't want to hear anyone's rhetoric about it on, you know what I mean? Like, whether you disagree or not, I don't want to hear it because I don't care. And I don't have the time to just keep going back and forth. Like I don't. And we're just in a society now that your mind is the way it is. This person's the minded way it is. Mine is the way it is, and that's just the way it is. It's almost impossible to change somebody's mind, unless, I don't know, something miraculous happens.
What does Dale Carnegie say? The person convinced against his will is of the same opinion still.
Yeah.
So at this point in the recording, our interview was interrupted by a break-in into our office. That was pretty embarrassing, but my son decided to come in, so obviously that caused us to change subjects a little bit, and we started talking about kids right about now.
So my son, he's 2.5 years old. His word doula is a generic term for anything that he doesn't want to put into the effort into saying. So you can say dad, say this, he says it. Say protein. I'm trying to get him to say protein because he loves protein shakes. It's like this candy. We don't give him candy, so we give him protein shakes, and he likes that more than any other food.
That's awesome.
He loves his protein shakes. Say protein, doula. That's like he doesn't say it. That's just like his generic word for it. Could mean anything.
I think I want to start doing that at work, dude. When they ask me to do something, that's right. Man. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's it. Nah. I'm taking a page out of his book.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us for the entire episode. Mike and I just wanted to ask everyone that's listening to support live comedy if there's anything going on locally in your area, and if not, because of restrictions and everything, keep an eye out for it. This is an art. This is something that both of us just absolutely love, and we can't do it without people going to the shows and supporting it. So if you did find this episode helpful or entertaining, we ask that you would please share it and subscribe. Help spread the word. Hey James, can you say subscribe? Doula. See, yeah, that means subscribe in 2.5-year-old language. So if you could do that, that would absolutely mean the world to us. And if you could leave a rating or a review on iTunes or whatever platform it is that you are listening to. We're not going to be setting up on Patreon. We're not set up for any type of donation or anything. This content is our gift to you. That being said, if you would like to support our show, we do invite you to our website, supersetyourlife.com, where you will find our retail pages for our very own Skullbellz workout equipment line, hats, t-shirts, coaching services, and my stand-up comedy booking information if we're ever out of this lockdown and we can actually do stand-up. That would be awesome. Someday. On the website, you will also find the link to subscribe to our weekly newsletter to be informed of new product announcements, sales, and all information to be up to date on what's going on. Finally, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at supersetyourlife.com. Thanks again, and God bless. Later.